Patrick Henry, a name synonymous with American patriotism and the fiery spirit of revolution, was born on May 29, 1736, in Hanover County, Virginia. Growing up on Studley, his family's plantation, young Patrick experienced a childhood steeped in the values of rural Virginia society. His father, John Henry, a planter and justice of the peace, instilled in him a deep sense of justice and a love for their colony. Despite his privilege, Henry's formal education was limited. He received most of his early education from his father and later attended a local school for a short period. However, books became his constant companions. He devoured works of history, literature, and classical philosophy, nurturing a keen intellect and a passion for oratory. This self-education would prove invaluable in the years to come. At the age of 15, Henry's father set him up in a store, a venture that quickly failed. Undeterred, he married Sarah Shelton at 18, and with her dowry, attempted to establish himself as a farmer. However, fate had other plans for the young man. His true calling lay not in the fields, but in the courtroom. In 1760, at the age of 24, driven by a thirst for knowledge and a desire to make his mark, Patrick Henry embarked on a path that would forever alter the course of his life. He began to study law. With unwavering determination, he immersed himself in legal texts, mastering the intricacies of the law and honing his natural talent for argumentation. Little did he know, these skills would soon be put to the test on a national stage. In 1760, Patrick Henry obtained his license to practice law, marking the beginning of a remarkable career. His reputation as a brilliant orator spread rapidly, drawing crowds eager to witness his courtroom eloquence. Henry possessed a rare gift for connecting with ordinary people, weaving legal arguments with passionate pleas for justice. It was the case known as the Parson's Cause that catapulted him to prominence. In 1763, Henry argued against a law that reduced the salaries of Anglican ministers. His impassioned defense of the clergy's rights, while seemingly contradictory to his later revolutionary stance, resonated with the people and established him as a champion of colonial rights. Henry's eloquence was not confined to the courtroom. In 1765, he was elected to the Virginia House of Burgesses, the colonial legislature. There, he found himself at the heart of the growing storm of resistance against British policies. The stage was set for Patrick Henry, the self-taught lawyer from rural Virginia, to become Patrick Henry, the voice of liberty. The rising tide of discontent in the colonies, fueled by what many perceived as unjust taxes and regulations imposed by the British Parliament, found a powerful voice in Patrick Henry. His unwavering belief in the rights of colonists, coupled with his exceptional oratory skills, made him a formidable force in the fight against tyranny. In 1765, the British Parliament, seeking to increase revenue from its American colonies, passed the Stamp Act. This act, which required colonists to pay a tax on all printed materials, from legal documents to newspapers, was met with widespread outrage. It was seen as a direct attack on the colonists' right to self-government and their freedom of the press. Patrick Henry, now a leading figure in the Virginia House of Burgesses, emerged as a fierce opponent of the Stamp Act. He saw it as a dangerous precedent, a violation of the colonists' fundamental rights as Englishmen. On May 29, 1765, his 29th birthday, Henry delivered a fiery speech on the floor of the House, denouncing the act and challenging British authority. His words, bold and uncompromising, electrified the assembly. Caesar had his Brutus, Charles I his Cromwell, and George III, he thundered, pausing for dramatic effect, may profit by their example. If this be treason, make the most of it. His Virginia Resolves, a series of resolutions declaring the colonists' right to self-taxation, were passed by a narrow margin, sending shockwaves across the colonies. Henry's defiant stand against the Stamp Act marked a turning point in his life and in the struggle for American independence. He became a symbol of colonial resistance, his words reprinted and celebrated throughout the colonies. The seeds of revolution, sown by years of discontent and nurtured by Henry's powerful rhetoric, were beginning to sprout. As tensions with Great Britain escalated, Patrick Henry continued to be a leading voice for colonial rights. In 1774, he was elected as a delegate to the First Continental Congress, where he joined other colonial leaders in petitioning the British government for redress of grievances. With the outbreak of armed conflict at Lexington and Concord in April 1775, the colonies found themselves on the brink of war. In March of that year, the Second Virginia Convention met at St. John's Church in Richmond to decide how the colony would respond to the growing crisis. It was at this pivotal moment that Patrick Henry delivered his most famous speech, one that would forever be etched in the annals of American history. With his signature passion and eloquence, he rallied his fellow delegates to armed resistance. "Gentlemen may cry, 'Peace, peace,' but there is no peace," he declared. "The war is actually begun. Our brethren are already in the field." His words, powerful and uncompromising, resonated through the church. He spoke of the need for unity, for courage, and for a willingness to fight for liberty. Then, reaching a crescendo, he uttered the words that would become a rallying cry for a nation. "Is life so dear, or peace so sweet, as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death." Patrick Henry's "Give me liberty or give me death" speech ignited the spirit of revolution in Virginia and across the colonies. His words galvanized the colonists, uniting them in their fight for independence. In the aftermath of his electrifying speech, the Second Virginia Convention voted to arm its militia, effectively committing the colony to war. Throughout the Revolutionary War, Patrick Henry served his new nation with unwavering dedication. He was elected the first governor of Virginia, a position he held for multiple terms. He used his influence to support the Continental Army, even personally leading troops against British forces. After the war, Henry continued to advocate for individual liberty and limited government. He opposed the ratification of the United States Constitution, arguing that it gave too much power to the federal government. Though his views on the Constitution differed from some of his contemporaries, his commitment to the principles of freedom and self-governance remained unwavering. Patrick Henry died on June 6, 1799, at the age of 63. He left behind a legacy as a fiery orator, a fearless champion of liberty, and one of the founding fathers of the United States. His words continue to inspire generations of Americans, reminding them of the preciousness of freedom and the courage it takes to fight for it. Patrick Henry, the self-taught lawyer from rural Virginia, became a symbol of the American spirit, his voice forever echoing through the halls of history. For more such inspiring stories, follow us.